Hi! Greetings with peace and joy, learners. So for today's video, we're going to dive into a interesting topic that talks about, entitled portfolio assessment. So in education, portfolio assessment is a unique and authentic method or approach to evaluate students' growth and learning. Not just that, we're going to explore its features, principles, and the essential elements that make up a portfolio. Plus, we're going to discuss the different types or stages involved in implementing portfolio assessment. Stay tuned also as we also delve into how portfolio are assessed and evaluated and the implications they have on the elements within our field, which is the social studies. So are you ready? So let's get started.
Now, what is a portfolio? In the context of education, a portfolio is a purposeful collection of student work that exhibits the student's efforts, progress, and achievement in one or more areas. It is a curated compilation of various assessments, projects, and assessments that demonstrate the student's skills, knowledge, and growth over a period of time. Typically, a portfolio includes a range of artifacts such as essays, artwork, presentations, and other evidence of learning. The purpose of creating a portfolio is to provide a comprehensive and holistic view of students' abilities and accomplishments going beyond traditional tests and grades. By actively participating in the selection of portfolio contents, reflecting on their work, and engaging in the assessment process, students become active participants in their own learning and development. Portfolios are valued for their authenticity and the insights they provide into a student's strengths, areas for improvement, and overall progress.
Next, we have what is portfolio assessment. So portfolio assessment is one of the several authentic and non-traditional assessment techniques in education. The use of portfolio assessment that became popular in the early to late 1980s in response to the growing clamor for more reasonable and authentic means of assessing students' growth in school. So one of the best examples in a school context is that portfolio assessment could involve students collecting and organizing their best work from various subjects or projects throughout the academic year. This portfolio would showcase their achievements, skills, and learning progress. Instead of relying solely on tests or exams, teachers would review the portfolios to gain a holistic understanding of the students' abilities, creativity, critical thinking, and overall growth over time. Which means that portfolio assessment allows students to demonstrate their strength, reflect on their learning journey, and receive feedback that goes beyond a single test score.
We will now discuss the features and principles of portfolio assessment. There are 4 features and principles of portfolio assessment. First is a portfolio is a form of assessment that students do together with their teacher. It means that students are not the only one involved in making a portfolio, but leaders as well, because they are the one who give instructions and guidance to students on how they make it, from planning, execution, and evaluation. Teacher together with student formulate their objective so that the student know what the outcomes are expected for them, so that it's become like an interactive assessment. Second is a portfolio represents a selection of what the student believe are the best included from among the possible collection of things related to the concept being studied. In creating a portfolio, students will only choose the best out of all the project to include in their portfolio because it will serve as their data of learning, and putting the best work is essential. Student can give advice to the student or assist them in choosing what to include on the portfolio, but the final decision lies to the student themselves, since the portfolio is representation of what the student believe are important concepts. Third is a portfolio provides a sample of student work which show growth over time. Like we just said, portfolio allows students to reflect on their performance to see if there is improvement or not. With the help of portfolio, students can assess their strengths and weaknesses after they create ways on how to improve those weaknesses. Fourth is the criteria for selecting and assessing the portfolio content must be clear to the teachers and the student at the outset of the process. Having a clear criteria or rubrics for evaluating the content is important so the teacher can truly assess the performance of the student and also they can give accurate feedbacks to the student that they can use for improvement and for the student to know that these are the consideration for grading. They will not ask why they get their kind of grades. If the criteria or rubric is not clearly stated, then both teachers and student will be loose in assessing the portfolio.
So there are 10 purposes. First is matches assessment to teaching. Second is clear goals. Third is give profile for learners' ability. Fourth is tool for assessing a variety of skills. Fifth is develop awareness to his own learning. And sixth is cater to individual in a heterogeneous class. And seven is develop social skills. And 8 is develop independent and active learners. 9 is improve motivation for learning achievement. And 10 is provide opportunity for students-teacher dialogue.
So now, let's proceed to the essential elements of portfolio. So every portfolio must contain the following essential elements. Number 1 is the cover letter. It is about the author and what my portfolio shows about my progress as a learner. It is usually written at the end but put at the beginning. And the second one is the table of contents with number pages. And then the third one is the entries. Both core or meaning items students have to include and the optional meaning items of students' choice. So the core elements be required for each student will provide a common base from which to make decisions or assessment, while the optional items will allow the folder to represent the uniqueness of each student. And then the fourth one is the dates on all entries to facilitate proof of growth over time. And then the fifth one is the drafts of oral and written products and revised version. And lastly, or the sixth one, is that reflection can appear at different stages in the learning process for formative and or summative purposes. And at the lower levels, it can be written in the mother tongue or by students who find it difficult to express themselves in English. And students can choose to reflect upon some or all of the following. First is that, what did I learn from it? Second is that, what did I do well? Third is that, why did I choose this item? It is based on the teacher and student assessment criteria. And then fourth is that, what do I want to improve this item? Fifth is that, how do I feel about my performance? And lastly is that, what were the problem areas? So that's all for the essential elements of portfolio.
There are stages in implementing portfolio assessment. The first stage is identifying teaching goals to assess the portfolio. It is very important at this stage to be very clear about what the teacher hopes to achieve in teaching. These goals will guide the selection and assessment of students' work for the portfolio. The second stage is introducing the idea of portfolio assessment to your class. Portfolio assessment is a new thing for many students who are used to traditional testing. For this reason, it is important for the teacher to introduce the concept to the class. The third stage is the specification of portfolio content. So it is to specify what and how much have to be included in the portfolio. both core and options. It is very important to include options as this enables self-expression and independence. So it is to specify for each entry how it will be assessed.
In stage 4, giving clear and dated guidelines for portfolio presentation. It means there is a tendency for students to present as many evidence of learnings as they can when left on their own. The teacher must therefore set clear guidelines and detailed information on how the portfolios will be presented. And then in stage 5, information key school officials, parents, and other stakeholders. So it means do not attempt to use the portfolio assessment method without notifying your department head, dean, or principal. Because this will serve as a precaution in case students will later complain about your new assessment procedure. Then lastly, in stage 6, development of the portfolio. It means it is to support and encouragement are required by both teacher and students at this stage. It will devote class time to student-teacher conferences, to practicing reflection and self-assessment, and to portfolio preparation. And it means giving feedback to students.
Next is the types of portfolio. First types of portfolio is the documentation portfolio. As the name implies, this approach involves a collection of work over time showing growth and improvement of reflecting the students' learning of identified outcomes. This portfolio is also called growth portfolio in the literature. It can include everything from brainstorming activities and to drops to finished products. The next type of portfolio is the showcase portfolio. It only shows the best of the students' outputs and products. As such thing, this type of portfolio is best used for summative evaluation of students' mastery of the key curriculum outcomes. The last type of portfolio is the process portfolio, where it demonstrates all facets or phases of the learning process. As such, these types of portfolios contain an extensive number of reflective journal, think logs, and other related forms of metacognitive processing.
Assessing and evaluating. According to Paulson and Mayer, portfolios offer a way of assessing student learning that is different from the traditional methods. And then portfolio assessment provides the teacher and the students an opportunity to observe students in a broader context, taking risk developing creative solutions, and learning to make judgments about their own performances. And then we have the oral skills. First, look for assessment opportunities within actual classroom tasks. Then the teachers who do not plan for oral assessment tend to overlook it. And then assessment can be both individual and pair or group. And then it makes sure pupils are really speaking and not memorizing from written notes. And also, teacher must craft an oral and listening tools. And then the assessment tools. First, we have self-peer assessment with rating scales. And then checklist with criteria, which are clear presentation, relevant vocabulary, correct spelling or pronunciation. And also, it depends on the task. Then we have also the teacher peer observation, then learning log, answer key, and last is the guided reflection on the task.
Portfolio assessment has a several implication. In the curriculum, it sought to answer the question, how much a curriculum is developed. In the instruction, portfolio assessment appears to complement a teacher's use of instruction strategies centered around applied learning. In assessment, a portfolio can be used as an assessment tool. we now have a general implication of portfolio. But what are its implication in its three different types of portfolios? Lawrence have previously tackled the three types of portfolios, namely growth, showcase, and evaluation portfolios. Now I am going to tackle what are its implication on its specific portfolios. We start with growth portfolios. First implication is that growth portfolios, unlike any others, it shows the growth of the student over time. Second, it also develops process skills such as evaluation and goal setting. Third, it identifies the strength of the student, and it also identifies the areas where it needs to be developed or honed further. Fourth, is that it tracks the development of one or more products or performances. Next is showcase. What are its implications? It showcases end of a year accomplishment of the student. Second, it prepare a sample of best work for the student, for employment or college admission. Third, showcase portfolios acts as student perceptions of best, favorite, and most significant work. And lastly, it communicates to a student's current aptitudes to future teachers. Lastly, we have evaluation portfolios. There are three implications of an evaluation portfolios. First, it documents achievement for grading purposes. I think we mostly know about these portfolios. Second is that it documents progress towards the end. And lastly, it places students appropriately. Now that we have already tackled about the implication of the portfolio assessment, we now proceed to a student-teacher conference. It is crucial for a teacher who has a portfolio assessment to conduct a student-teacher conference. And what does this imply, or what does student-teacher conference mean? The teacher and the student keep careful documentation of the meeting, noting significant agreements and finding each individual session. The formative evaluation process of portfolio assessment is facilitated. Indeed, the use of portfolio assessment takes time, but in the end, it gains. Finally, student-teacher conference can be used for summative evaluation purposes when the student presents his final portfolio product and where final grades are determined, together with the teacher. The conference can be prepared in pairs where students practice presenting their portfolios. And that's it. I hope you learn about portfolio assessment. Thank you.